headlines for tonight. Information pointing to former House Speaker Martin Romualdez and resigned Congressman Saldico will be transferred to Ombudsman for investigation, according to President Ferdinand Marcos Jr.
Senator Risa Hontiveros pushes for anti-political bill at the Senate.
The International Criminal Court is set to decide on ex-Philippine President Duterte's interim release appeal on November 28.
Israel strikes Gaza and Lebanon despite ceasefires.
Good evening, bringing you the latest news for tonight. I am ALVIN PELOBELLO.
And I am KRIZZA Lopez. This is Eurotv News. To read the details on our broadcast. Former Speaker Martin Romualdez and resigned Congressman Saldico have been inflicted in the flood control anomaly multiple times.
Due to this, President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. reported today that all the information pointing to the involvement of the two will be subjected to an investigation by the Ombudsman. More from this report.
The names of former House Speaker Martin Romualdez and former Congressman Saldico have repeatedly been implicated in the flood control project scandal. Because of this, President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. announced that all collected information pointing to the possible involvement of the two lawmakers will be submitted to the Office of the Ombudsman for investigation. All information being turned over comes from the Independent Commission for Infrastructure or ICI created by President Marcos and from the Department of Public Works and Highways. These materials will undergo full evaluation by the Ombudsman.
Ang ICI at saka ang DPWH ay lahat ng nakuha nila na informasyon ay ire-refer, ibibigay na sa Ombudsman para imbestigahan ng Ombudsman. Ito ay tungkol sa mga informasyon ng dating Speaker Martin Romualdez at saka ni Saldico.
The President expressed confidence in the Office of the Ombudsman and its mandate to investigate the two lawmakers.
Lahat ng ebidensya, baka mag-file ng kaso ng blunder o anti-graft o indirect bribery. Malakas naman ang loob natin na yung Ombudsman, ang ginagawa lamang ay sumusunod sa ebidensya. At kung saan tayo dinadala ng ebidensya, doon pupunta ang ating investigasyon.
Possible charges being considered against Romualdez and Co. include plunder, graft, or bribery. Meanwhile, ICI Executive Director Brian Keith Hosaka announced plans to live stream the Commission's next hearings except for those held in executive session. This is KRIZZA Lopez for Eurotv News.
Amid the clamor for accountability and transparency, former Ilocos Sur Governor Chavit Singson is urging the Office of the Ombudsman to investigate the executive branch, citing the implication of Saldico against President Marcos Jr. regarding the budget insertion. Henry Nicolas reports.
Former Ilocos Sur Governor Chavit Singson challenged President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. to investigate his cousin, former House Speaker Martin Romualdez, regarding anomalies in budget insertions and flood control scandals. Singson also asked the administration and cabinet members revamp, yet Romualdez remained in his position. The most recent officials removed from the office were Executive Secretary Lucas Bersamin and Budget Secretary Amina Pangandaman. On Friday, President Marcos released an update on the ongoing investigation into alleged irregularities in flood control projects. The President announced that the Independent Commission for Infrastructure and the Department of Public Works and Highways will refer all information they have gathered, including data pointing to Romualdez and Zaldico, to the Office of the Ombudsman. He said that if the Ombudsman finds sufficient evidence, it can file cases such as plunder, anti-graft, or indirect bribery.
Ang ICI at saka ang DPWH ay lahat ng nakuha nila na impormasyon ay ire-refer, ibibigay na sa Ombudsman para imbestigahan ng Ombudsman. Ito ay tungkol sa mga impormasyon ng dating Speaker Martin Romualdez at saka ni Zaldico.
Romualdez said he is willing to submit himself to the ICI fact-finding process and remained in the country. He said his conscience is clear and there is no clear evidence that would link his name in the irregularities. Romualdez issued the statement after the recommendation of the ICI of the said complaint against him and Ako Bicol Party List Representative Zaldico. Meanwhile, F. Singson were to be asked. Despite this, he also challenged the Ombudsman to investigate Marcos in connection with the President's name being among those disclosed by Ko as allegedly being involved in the budget insertion. This is Henry Nicolas for Eurotv News.
Senator Risa Hontiveros has filed a new anti-political dynasty bill reigniting efforts to curb family dominance in government amid ongoing corruption controversies. Mia Layagin tells us more.
Amid the issue of corruption in the country, some lawmakers and progressive groups believe that this is rooted with a long-standing political dynasty with relatives vying for government positions. In the Senate alone, 4 sets of siblings are seated at the 20th Congress, an example of political dynasty which is prohibited under the 1987 Constitution but no formal law to enact it. And in the longest time, only bills to prohibit dynasty was filed but there was none successfully enacted by the Congress. On Thursday, Senator Risa Hontiveros filed Senate Bill No. 1548 or the Contra Dinastia Act seeking prohibition of political dynasties. Hontiveros cited studies claiming that corruption is more rampant among political families, weakening as well the institutional checks and balances. Under the bill, it aims to prohibit spouses or relatives until 4th degree of affinity of national officials to run on any national post. This shall also forbid relatives of local officials to run in any local post within the same legislative district, province, or city. 4th degree of affinity includes great-great-grandparents, great-aunts and uncles, first cousins, and grandnephews and nieces. Aside from this, the bill shall also disallow relatives of an official to assume his post immediately and shall not be allowed to run for a party list group. Hontiveros said that the passing of these legislation will restore fairness within electoral systems, strengthen public institutions, and ensure that government leadership will not be determined by political powers or political families. Last week, Akbayan Party List filed before the Congress a counterpart bill before the House of Representatives. This is Mia Layagin for Eurotv News.
The Armed Forces of the Philippines remains committed to their constitution as duty despite the issues related to the flood control corruptions linking President Marcos, their commander-in-chief. The Philippine Army, on the other side, maintains that they respect the issue but still ensure security as their top priority. Here's the report.
The Philippine Armed Forces have reiterated their commitment to the Constitution amid corruption in the country allegedly linking President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. as their commander-in-chief. In a statement, the commanders of the Armed Forces of the Philippines, or AFP's combatant commands, declared that the armed forces will remain committed to the constitutional mandate to uphold the rule of law and ensure full respect for civilian authority. The combatant command are the National Capital Region, Southern Luzon, Northern Luzon, Western Command, Visayas, Eastern Mindanao, and Western Mindanao Command. This follows a rally by the United People's Initiative led by military personnel calling for the resignation of President Marcos and urging the military to withdraw their support from the government. According to the AFP, they're also investigating the possibility that the anti-government protests in the country are foreign-funded. Meanwhile, newly appointed 2nd Infantry Division Commander Major General Ramon Sagala insisted that the army remains to ensure maintaining security in the country. Although the soldiers said they respect the people's view on the current issue, the morale of the military soldiers also remains high amid the issues.
We focus more on our mission. Of course, we respect the troubles that is happening now. We respect our countrymen's desire to find out what's going on. But as soldiers, we will focus more on the security of our country. We will ensure that we will protect the chain of command and our constitution and all the constitutional processes in the institution.
Ito sir, bago tayo sir, napagbabasa mo rin ng mga
Wala. Wala. The morale is high.
Sagala made this statement following the change of command ceremony of 3 battalion units and 1 division unit of the Philippine Army. As for the Rizal Provincial Office, they are ready to support in maintaining peace and security in the province of Rizal.
Tuloy-tuloy ang magiging ating partnership para sa kapayapaan ng kabuuan ng Rizal. Of course, ang PNP ay patuloy din na tutulong para sa kanilang misyon at we are all partners here para sa peace and order ng buong Rizal.
This is ALVIN PELOBELLO for Eurotv News.
Cassandra Leong, the documented representative of the illegal Lucky South 99 Pogo Hub in Porac, Pampanga, has been released from detention and is now at large while having human trafficking case. This information alarmed the senators who fear she may have used an escape route similar to the one taken by convicted former Mayor Alice Guo to flee the country. Here's my report. Despite the successful prosecution of dismissed Banban Mayor Alice Guo, who was sentenced to life imprisonment, senators were caught by surprise upon learning about the release of Cassandra Leong, representative of the illegal Pogo Hub Lucky South 99 in Porac, Pampanga. During the Senate budget plenary for the Department of Justice, Senator Win Gatchalian, sponsor of the DOJ budget, revealed that Cassandra Leong had been released.
Cassandra Leong, naka-release ho siya, no? So hindi siya
Paano po nangyari yun, Mr. Chair?
According to Gatchalian, Ong was detained at the House of Representatives after being issued a contempt order. However, because of the transition from the 19th Congress to 20th Congress, Ong was released and their current whereabouts remain unknown.
Mr. President, actually nagulat rin ako.
Mr. Chair.
Pareho ho tayong nagulat kasi tinututukan ho natin tong case before. I was advised that dahil nung nag-recess po yung Senado, pinalabas ho natin siya. Because
Pinalabas po natin siya.
Oo, because pag nagmo-move from one Congress to the other Congress, pinapakawala ho natin yung mga na-detain dito. So nung pinakawala ho natin siya.
Dito po ba siya naka-detain, Mr. Chair? Nung panahong iyon? Parang hindi ganun po recollection ko, Mr. Chair. Please correct me if I'm wrong.
Mr. President, I was also asking sa House pala, sa House. Sa House.
At the time she was freed from detention, no case had yet been filed against her. Currently, Ong is facing charges of qualified human trafficking before RTZ Branch 157 in Pasig City. As a result of the case, police are now searching for Ong and the Bureau of Immigration is verifying whether she has already left the country.
The same po with Harry Roque. Since mayroon na siyang warrant of arrest, hinahanap na po siya ng ating kapulisan dito po within our jurisdiction. Pinapa-verify ko lang po sa BI kung nakalabas na or nakatakas na. But automatic naman po yung whole departure order. No? So pinapa-verify lang po kung nakawala na.
Gatchalian expressed concern that Ong may have used the same escape route as Alice Guo when she fled the Philippines. Aside from Ong, cases continue against former presidential spokesperson Harry Roque for his alleged involvement in the operation of Lucky South 99. When Senator Risa Hontiveros asked the DOJ if they had any means to compel Roque to return to the Philippines, the DOJ said it plans to cancel Roque's Philippine passport and coordinate with Interpol for the issuance of a red notice.
Pa-cancela po yung kanyang passport para ma-inform po ang Interpol ng red notice at maaresto siya ng Interpol. No? Dito po papasok yung ating relasyon between the different international agencies na pwede pong umaresto sa kanya.
This is KRIZZA Lopez for Eurotv News.
7 days away before the International Criminal Court is set to release the verdict over the request of former Philippine President Rodrigo Roa Duterte's legal counsel for the interim release appeal. It can be recalled that Duterte's camp requested an interim release in consideration to his current health condition. Mia Layagin tells us more.
The International Criminal Court Appeals Chamber is set to act on the defense's submission appealing the interim release of former Philippine President Rodrigo Duterte. In his scheduling order, the appeals chamber scheduled on November 28 the release of their ruling on whether to uphold or reverse the decision of Pretrial Chamber 1 regarding Duterte's release bid. Last month, the Pretrial Chamber 1 rejected both the urgent request for interim release and the renewed request for interim release submitted by the defense. Based on the said decision, the chamber upheld that Duterte must remain in detention as his influence may still pose threat to the safety and welfare of the witnesses of the case. The court also did not consider the humanitarian grounds appeal, citing that Duterte's medical needs remain attended inside the detention. This was the decision that was challenged by the defense in its recent appeal submission, aside from a new submission appealing Duterte's release and the halt of his case. March of the present year, when Duterte was arrested and detained at The Hague, Netherlands for crimes against humanity charges over alleged extrajudicial killings tied with his administration's war on drugs campaign. The confirmation hearing of his charges has been postponed as well, with Duterte being unfit for trial. ICC also ordered a medical assessment on the former president to assess his capability to stand future trials regarding his case. This is Mia Layagin for Eurotv News.
The chief executive launched the Oplan Contra Baha program in Metro Cebu, which was severely damaged during the onslaught of Typhoon Tino, and witnessed the other related activities involving the project aimed at mitigating future flooding. Catherine Landicho brings us the details.
As part of the national campaign to improve disaster preparedness and strengthen community resilience, President Ferdinand Bongbong Marcos Jr. launched the Oplan Contra Baha Metro Cebu waterways clearing and cleaning operations at Mahiga Creek near the M. Logarta Bridge located between the cities of Mandaue and Cebu on November 21. This initiative, initially implemented in Greater Metro Manila, brings together national government agencies, local government units, and private sector partners to remove garbage and debris from rivers, creeks, and drainage systems that have long been clogged. Its goal is to prevent severe flooding during heavy rains. During the program, President Marcos Jr. observed ongoing activities at Mahiga Creek, including dredging, waste removal, cleaning of waterways, and removal of illegal structures to restore the natural flow of water and reduce flooding risks. He then moved to the other side of the bridge to oversee additional dredging operations. Mahiga Creek is part of the nearly 12-kilometer Subang-Daku-Mahiga River system, a critical waterway that runs through Cebu City's urban core and surrounding barangays. The river often overflows during heavy rains due to the significant silt buildup and accumulated waste, particularly around the Subang-Daku Bridge. The clearing and cleaning operations were organized by the Department of Public Works and Highways and are being carried out simultaneously in other major waterways in the region. This is Catherine Landicho for Eurotv News.
Senator Rafi Tulfo slammed the National Irrigation Administration for collapsing and unfinished irrigation projects during its 2026 budget hearing, questioning repeated structural failures despite billions in funding. Full details on Vanessa Cleophas' report.
During the ongoing Senate hearings on the 2026 proposed budget of the National Irrigation Administration or NIA, which has a total fund of 54.79 billion pesos, Senator Rafi Tulfo questioned that apparent ease which NIA's irrigation projects are crumbling in certain areas, as well as projects that remain unfinished. In a presentation shown by the senator, he specifically highlighted the holes and cracks in parts of the Bulo Small River Irrigation Project in Bulacan. He also pointed out the Maclelon Small Reservoir Irrigation Project in Barangay Vista Hermosa and the Balog-Balog Multipurpose Project Phase 2 in Tarlac City. The video shows that the Senator's office inspection in 2022, 2023, 2024, and up to 2025, where the damaged parts seem to have been patched rapidly and quickly worn out again.
Why is it, Mr. President, konting typhoon lang nasisira na agad yung proyekto? Bakit? Anong klaseng materials ang ginamit dyan? Substandard ba? O super mega substandard materials? Kasi kunting hangin lang, kunting bagyo lang, signal number 1 lang, number 2, giba na agad. Dapat anong klaseng specification standard ng ginagamit ng NIA, ng contractor, para ma-ensure na kahit na signal number 3 yan, hindi madadamage yung project? Bakit pag signal number 2 lang, damage na agad? So, ganun ba lahat ng mga proyekto, irrigations ng NIA? Konting bagyo lang, nagigiba na agad lahat ng proyekto nila?
The NIA defended the projects through Senator Kiko Pangilinan, claiming that the damage observed at the Bulo Reserva was caused by Super Typhoon Karding, which reached signal number 4 and left the Bulo project with severe damage. However, Senator Tulfo said that NIA should also be aware that provinces where their irrigation systems are built are often hit by strong typhoons, and thus they should know to use more durable materials in these areas.
Kasi sa ngayon, every single time na magkaroon ng bagyo, lahat ng proyekto ng NIA sa irrigation nagigiba. Why? Hindi ba na-anticipate nila yan? Na ang Pilipinas ay talagang pasukan ng bagyo? All year round binabagyo tayo. And all year round nasisira itong mga irrigation projects. Why? You should have anticipated that. Sana gumawa kayo ng mga proyekto na it can withstand up to signal number 4. Period.
Despite this, the NIA emphasized that the damages shown around the Bulo Reserva were not merely patched, and they used steel casement in these areas. The agency also expressed willingness to conduct an internal investigation and visit the Bulo irrigation site to identify the issues personally and collect information, which they said would be immediately submitted to Senator Tulfo's office. Meanwhile, Senator Tulfo challenged NIA Administrator Engineer Eddie Guillen to resign if it is proven that the hole in Bulo were patched haphazardly.
So, I give you a challenge. Pupunta tayo, staff ka staff mo. Pag napatunayan na patsi-patsi lang ginawa, someone has to resign. Are you willing to resign? Challenge taken. Good.
Meanwhile, it should be noted that the requested NIA budget for 2026 focuses on the construction, rehabilitation, and monitoring system of irrigation projects nationwide. This is Vanessa Cleofas for Eurotv News.
The National Electrification Administration has deployed hundreds of additional task force Kapatid line workers to fast-track power restoration in areas heavily hit by typhoons Tino and Uwan. Graciela Corazon with the details.
The National Electrification Administration, or NEA, has deployed additional personnel to help speed up power restoration in areas affected by Typhoon Tino and Juan. Based on a report released by the NEA Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Department, the reduction of power repairs and connections continues to more than 105,166 households affected by Tino, and about 316,345 households affected by Typhoon Juan. For those affected by Typhoon Juan, 53 ECs contributed, 326 TFK linemen were deployed for the restoration of power in Aleco, Aurelco, Casureco, D4, Fiselco, Novelco, and Curelco. About 21 ECs were deployed for those affected by Typhoon Tino, 191 personnel assisted for Celco, Dorelco, Noceso, Noneco, and Soleco. In total, 517 line workers from 74 electric cooperatives or extended support from Senpelco, Iseco, Omeco, and Penalco III have been sent at additional personnel called Pilreca Task Force Kapatid o TFK to expedite the rehabilitations of electricity. It can be recalled that the National Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Council or MDRRMC recorded millions of individuals affected by the consecutive typhoons Tino and Uwan, with hundreds of reported facilities in the near disaster. This is Graciela Corazon for Eurotv News.
As a public safety and environmental concern during the holidays, the Department of Environment and Natural Resources is urging Filipinos to avoid decorating outdoor trees with Christmas lights, emphasizing that the practice can physically harm the trees and disrupt wildlife, in addition to posing fire risks. Vanessa Cleophas reports.
As part of the Filipino tradition during Christmas season, households, even government offices are decorated with colorful ornaments and lights. But despite this, the Department of Environment and Natural Resources or DENR is reminding the public to avoid hanging Christmas lights on trees. In an advisory issued by the DENR National Capital Region or NCR, the agency emphasized that doing so is not only dangerous to environment but also to the public. Aside from causing damage to trees and distributing the animals that perch on them, it may also lead to accidents and fires, especially during a time when everyone is preoccupied with holiday preparations. Trees are also serve as habitats for various animals, and covering them with Christmas lights could drive these creatures away. Although there is no existing policy in the country that specifically prohibits this practice, the DENR believes that their announcement serves as a reminder to protect and care for the environment. This is Vanessa Cleophas for Eurotv News.
The Land Transportation Franchising and Regulatory Board issued a warning to public utility vehicles regarding the refusal to grant student discounts during weekends. Catherine Nandicho returns.
Refusal to grant student discount even on weekends or holidays prohibited by Land Transportation Franchising and Regulatory Board or LTFRB. The Land Transportation Franchising and Regulatory Board or LTFRB, under the leadership of Department of Transportation's or DOTR Acting Secretary Giovanni Lopez, has issued a warning to public utility vehicle or PUV drivers and operators to strictly comply with the law mandating 20% student fare discount. According to LTFRB Chairperson Attorney Vigor Mendoza II, the agency has received reports that some PUVs have refused to honor the discount during long weekends and days when classes are suspended. He cited Republic Act 11314 or the Student Fare Discount Law, which states in Section 4 that the fare discount must be granted throughout the entire period a student is enrolled, including weekends and holidays. Under the law, PUV drivers who violate the rule may face suspension of their driver's license for up to 3 months and fine of 1,000 pesos for each offense. Meanwhile, operators may be fined up to 15,000 pesos and risk the revocation of their certificate of public convenience. This is Catherine Landicho for Eurotv News.
Israel has launched fresh strikes in Gaza and Lebanon this week, shattering fragile ceasefires as dozens of Palestinians were killed and new targets linked to Hamas and Hezbollah were hit. Son Santiago with the report.
Israel has launched a new round of attacks in both Gaza and Lebanon this week, raising instability of ceasefire agreements on two fronts. In Gaza, at least 30 Palestinians were killed after a series of Israeli strikes on Wednesday and Thursday. The Israel Defense Forces or IDF said the strikes were carried out in response from what they describe as terrorists approaching Israeli troops operating across Gaza. The escalation comes just days after the United Nations Security Council approved a US-backed resolution supporting a roadmap for Gaza's reconstruction, one that includes the creation of a transitional governing body and the deployment of an international stabilization force. According to the Gaza Health Ministry, 12 children and 8 women were among those killed, while 88 people were injured. Since the truce took effect on October 10, Gaza death toll has now risen to 312. Over the course of the 2-year war, more than 69,000 Palestinians have been killed. Israel also carried out strikes in Lebanon, targeting sites linked to the presence of Hamas and the re-establishing of military assets from the Lebanese militant group Hezbollah. On Tuesday, November 18, Israel hit a Palestinian refugee camp, killing more than 10 people. The IDF said the camp was being used as a Hamas training compound for planning attacks. A day later, Israel hit what it described as Hezbollah weapon storage facilities, which they believe was a move to advance the terrorist activities of the militant group. No casualties were reported according to Al Jazeera. Israel and Lebanon have been under a ceasefire since November 2024. This is Son Santiago for Eurotv News.
Miss Universe Mexico was crowned a new queen at the 74th Miss Universe pageant, while Philippine pride Atiza Manalo secured the third spot. Sam Martos has more.
These are just some of the highlights of the recently concluded 74th Miss Universe 2025. Miss Mexico Fatima Bosch was crowned the new Miss Universe 2025 with Miss Thailand as first runner-up, Miss Venezuela as second runner-up, the Philippines representative Maria Atiza Manalo as third runner-up, and Cote d'Ivoire as fourth runner-up.
The 74th Miss Universe is Mexico!
Bosch's victory quickly became a hot topic on social media, but it will be remembered that this was not the first time she made headlines during the competition. It will be recalled that she was also the candidate who walked out during Miss Universe pre-pageant sashing ceremony after getting into an argument with Nawat Itzaraglusil. On the other hand, although the Philippines did not win the title and crown, Filipino fans remained proud of what Atiza achieved and the performance she showed from the moment she arrived in Thailand and carried the country's flag. Meanwhile, the 74th Miss Universe 2025 took place at the Impact Challenger Hall in Thailand today, where the crown was passed to Mexico, which was previously in Denmark and won by Victoria Taivi. This is Sam Martos for your TV Showbiz News.
And that's the latest news for tonight. You may visit Eurotvph.com for more news and information. Once again, I am KRIZZA Lopez.
You can also catch our live broadcast through our social media accounts and via Pinoy Stream channel. I'm ALVIN PELOBELLO. Thanks for joining us. This is Eurotv News Thread. Stay safe and have a good night, everyone. Happy weekend. Happy weekend, partner.